Adam, a lengthy docket of Tar Heel action this weekend. Get us up to date on what happened out there for the Heels.
Some big wins, and let's start with those. Starting in Carmichael. Great crowd at Carmichael on Sunday as women's basketball beat Duke 63-59. Deja Kelly, 18 points and 7 rebounds. Alyssa Usby, 17 points. So that wraps up the regular season. Carolina finishes 19-11 and 11-7 in the ACC. ACC tournament starts this week in Greensboro. Carolina is going to be the 8th seed. They'll open ACC tournament play on Thursday against number 9 Miami. That one's at 1:30 in the afternoon. Those two teams have only played once this year. Carolina won by 5 in Chapel Hill. The winner of that game then gets number 1 seed Virginia Tech on Friday.
Yeah, Virginia Tech has had a really good year, although the Hokies lost their last game against Virginia, but that'll probably just make them mad, so that's not good. Good to see Alyssa Usby. She had a rough game or two offensively and really played well and had a big block shot near the end on an offensive rebound attempt on a stick back by Duke that could, I think, tied the game in the last couple of seconds. And so big play by her and great win for the Tar Heels for sure. And I know they're frustrated, probably should have won both those games against Duke. Remember, they lost a big lead in Cameron, but nice to get one back and get a big win.
And a great way to send out a big senior class.
Yeah.
We talked about it on the men's side, also true on the women's side. Again, unsure how many of those quote-unquote seniors will be back. Some of them have the opportunity to, but a big class that was impactful for that squad. Baseball gets a sweep of Princeton. Freshman Luke Stevenson hit 2 home runs on the weekend. One of them was a long one, like a 430-foot-ish home run. Diamond Eagles have scored double-digit runs in 4 straight games for the first time since April of 2019. Big part of that, Casey Cooks hitting 435. His on-base percentage is 525. And on the mound, freshman Folger Boaz started 3 Friday nights for Carolina. He's got a 2.16 ERA. He's been really good. Big week for the Tar Heels. They go to Campbell tonight. Campbell's always very good, and they've had some big wins already this year, including they beat ECU. And then ACC play opens this weekend. Pitt's coming to Boshamer Stadium, and Pitt just went out to Las Vegas and won a big sort of quote-unquote preseason college baseball tournament. They got some big wins. I think they're 8-1. So Pitt, you might hear Pitt and think they're not a traditional ACC baseball powerhouse. They've been good so far this year.
That tone for the Princeton series was set like on the first day. I think Princeton scored a run maybe in the top half of the first inning of the first game, and then Carolina scored like 10 runs in the bottom half of the first, or 11 or something.
Well, you heard Scott Forbes say it in here. The lineup can hit, and it's tough to get into that lineup because it is so strong, but there's also some guys on the bench who can produce.
Yeah. Carolina hit the ball a lot this weekend. They just had guys on base, it seemed like, constantly. And really outside there, I mean, felt bullpen maybe a little shaky on Sunday, but that happens a lot of times in college baseball. Those Sunday games can get a little up there scoring wise. So it was a pretty dominant weekend. Now Carolina's better than Princeton, but Princeton's a good program, and Carolina was just better from start to finish this weekend.
Step up in competition this week.
Yes.
All 4 games.
Yes, no doubt.
4 wins put together for the Tar Heel tennis teams this weekend. Start on the women's side. They get 2 sweeps. They swept Boston College 7-0 on Saturday, turned right around, swept Syracuse 7-0 on Sunday. That BC match, all the singles matches were straight sets. Then on Sunday against Syracuse, the Tar Heels lost 1 set. So just a dominant performance. The women are back at home this coming weekend. They'll host Georgia Tech and Clemson. The men also got 2 wins. They beat Georgia Tech, which is a good team. It's like a top 40 type team. Beat them 4-3, won the clinching match in the 3rd set tiebreaker, and then came back on Sunday and beat Clemson 4-1. On the men's side, Tar Heels are 8-3 overall. They're now 2-0 in the ACC. They're in the top 50 nationally. New polls coming around the time you hear this. They're going to host Virginia on Friday.
What, Adam, sorry, what was it that somebody reached out and told us about women's tennis? Didn't somebody either email us or tweet us about somebody who competed for women's tennis, like a young player? I'll see if I can find it.
Did they just send that to you and leave me out? Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, that could be it. I'll see if I can find it.
Okay. Well, while Jones is looking for that, we'll tell you about softball. Tar Heels have a 5-1 week overall, and they finished it up with a doubleheader sweep on Sunday. They beat Lafayette 13-0 and Campbell 6-0. Isabella Emmerling continues to have a great year. She's got 8 home runs and 30 RBI in the first 19 games of the year.
Wow.
Pretty stout. Tar Heels are
I found it.
okay. The softball Heels will host Furman today, Tuesday, and then ACC play opens this weekend with Virginia.
Drew Matthews sent us this. He did. He tweeted it to us, Adam. He said, not sure if you saw this, but Tatum Evans was a women's tennis 24-25 recruit who enrolled early. Played her first matches this weekend against BC, and Syracuse won 6-0, 6-0, and 6-2, 6-2. Won doubles both days. Pretty impressive for a would-be high school senior.
Women's tennis, Brian Calba's dealing with some injuries, and so having to plug in someone like a Tatum Evans, I feel like that would be demoralizing if you were a college tennis player and then this high schooler shows up and 6-0, 6-0's you.
Yeah. So, thank you, Drew Matthews, and good start to the year there, Tatum Evans.
And some more depth for a team that you never want to have to use it, but the Tar Heels have this year, and it's been good. Gymnastics goes out to Nebraska for the Nebraska quad meet and finishes second. Lali Dekanoidze and Julia Noer each had individual event wins. Big home meet coming up Friday against number 6 Kentucky. That's the last home meet of the year.
Kentucky's really good. They're really good. They've got Raina Evans, maybe Raina something, who's been there forever. She's one of the best individual gymnasts in the country. Kentucky's very good. That will be a big challenge.
Okay, there you go. That's Gymnastics Corner.
Yeah,
he knows, but that's at home on Friday.
Yes,
so that'll be.
Let's get a great crowd there.
Yeah, that'll be big time.
Let's get a great crowd there. That I'm telling you, Kentucky is really, really good. Also,
really, really good. Notre Dame women's lacrosse. The Irish beat the Tar Heels 7-5 at Dorrance Field on Saturday. Outshot Carolina 34-17. Had a 10-5 edge on draws. So Notre Dame just played really well. Carolina couldn't put it in the net. Tar Heels are now 4-2 overall, 1-1 in the ACC. They'll go to Clemson on Saturday at 3:00. Men's lacrosse played in a monsoon on Friday night and lost 15-9 to Princeton.
Just hideous conditions.
It didn't look fun. I watched some of that, and it didn't look fun, not the least of which because the Tar Heels were behind.
Raina Worley, by the way. Worley, WORLEY. Is that Kentucky gymnast?
Basically what you said.
Yeah. Probably.
Owen Duffy had a career-high 4 goals in that game. But then the Tar Heels come back on Sunday and face number 17 Penn and get a 13-9 win.
That was a good win. It felt like a win they needed. Needed to come back and get a good win against a solid team. And Penn had just beaten number 1 Duke on Friday in those terrible conditions as well. So that was felt like they needed a good bounce back, and they got it. That was a good one.
Penn had a 4-2 lead at halftime. Tar Heels scored 11 in the second half, including 4 by Dominic Petramala. Carolina's 3-2 overall. They'll go to Hofstra on Saturday. And then women's golf finished 6th at the Gator Invitational. March 17 and 19, they're headed to Hawaii. If you need someone to go with you and pod about it while you're there, just let Jones and I know.
Adam, I was looking up that email when you were giving softball. So softball 4-1 in 5 games, is that right?
They were 5-1 this past week.
5-1 in 6 games. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and so they're 16-3 overall. I think it's fair to say the quality of competition will step up when ACC play begins, which is this weekend. But you beat the teams you were supposed to beat.
Yeah. Great weekend for Carolina, and as we previewed on Friday's show, just so much happening. And so it really was a fun weekend around Carolina in total.